Sports Fest Rick Horrow inside the $1.3 trillion business of sports. You're on the record. Masters, tremendous, transcendental, generational, exquisite, unique, astronomical. Just a few of those words. Rory wins, then he doesn't, then he wins, then he doesn't. At the end of the day, the Grand Slam belongs to him. What an incredible week and a week following. We'll have Ken Kennerly, a 37-year veteran of the golf industry and running a number of tournaments, to put it in perspective. But first, let's talk about the opening drive. Number one, yeah, it's got to be Rory. He wins $4.2 million for his win, $600,000 more than Scottie Scheffler won at $3.6 million last year. Total prize money about $21 million, up 5% versus 2024. Justin Rose, $2.27 million. All of those numbers are fine, but it doesn't really do justice to what actually happened. Generational Rory, maybe one of the top 5 golfers of all time, certainly the top 10. He's second in total prize money at $104.2 million behind Tiger's $121, but he's made a PGA record $160 million, $56 million in PGA Cup payouts, and he's earned an estimated $80 million last year, including $45 million of it off course. Total, 17th of active athletes in the world. The money's fine, but listen, what happened to him this week transcends the dollar. That's number one. Number two, MLB reportedly weighs selling exclusive rights to MLB TV. ESPN currently paid a reported $550 million a year for their rights to the baseball contract. They only want to pay about $300 million max. Where is the difference going to be made up? Well, NFL Sunday Ticket went to DirecTV. ESPN, NHL did a deal. NBA did not sell exclusive NBA League Pass rights, but included it as part of his massive media rights deal as an add-on. That's what Major League Baseball may do, but we'll have to see what happens. Clearly, Rob Manfred is under a little bit of pressure to produce some more revenue, and that's number two. Number three, Paige Becker's 3-year deal with Unrivaled. The 10-week Unrivaled season exceeds what she'll make for 4 years in her WNBA contract, though it'll obviously increase tacking on year 2, 3, and 4 after the mega TV rights deal kicks in. She signed an NIL deal with Unrivaled last year, gave her equity in the league. Guess what? The league generated $27 million in revenue last year. She certainly, in 10 weeks, is going to get a payout. That's number two. Number three, NFL revenue, by the way, exceeding $23 billion, sources say, and that's scratching the surface. They've still got their venture arm, 32 Equity, where they're going to make major investments, get major deals, new media rights, maybe an 18-game schedule, though they have to readjust the deal with the players. The discussion with Roger Goodell is we're going to make over $25 billion in revenue. I'm challenging my staff to do it. People thought he was crazy. He's near it. He's probably going to surpass it. That is number 4. Number 5, more than 2,000 men's basketball players have entered the transfer portal. 2033, according to verbal commits. That's about 35% of the 5,600 college basketball players in D1 all told. And the number of transfer aspirants yet to surpass last year. But we have until April 22nd, where the portal still remains open. On the women's side, about 1,300 women's D1 players enter the portal. About 5,000 total. Gino Auriemma, now the national championship Connecticut coach, has basically said, hey, look, the NBA is an off-season and a free agency season. We get that. Our free agency is timeless. It happens every single day. Well, you got to feel for the coaches, but it's a brave new world, and that's number 5. Yeah, let's return to golf, and obviously a big deal as we move forward. Ken Kennerly, who has been in the business for well over 30 years, has certainly run events for ProLink Sports as their EVP executive director of the James Hardie Pro Football Invitational that just happened. The company involved with the Valspar, 3M, Insperity, Wells Fargo, Sanford, Simmons Bank, all of the big corporate sponsored tournaments. And he certainly has the ability to talk about a sport that now has 138 million players, real players in the U.S., 545 million rounds, 16,000 courses, 14,000 facilities, and a big boost with Rory and the sport. Ken Kennerly will give us what's happening with the sport today, where it's going, and long-term predictions. Here's Ken Kennerly. Sports professor Rick Horrow into the $1.3 trillion business of sports. We're on the record. Masters time, ladies and gentlemen. Masters is over by the time we see this, but the indelible impact of America's first major at a location that does not change. It is a rallying cry for all of golf. Golf, after COVID, is the fastest growing of any participatory sport, and people who are in the industry love the idea of promoting it. One of my good friends and also executive director of the James Hardie Pro Football Hall of Fame Classic, executive vice president of Pro League Sports, so prolific in the golf industry, the former director of the Honda Classic, which was a staple and is a staple in South Florida for many years, will be for years to come. My good friend Ken Kennerly, hey, how you doing?
Hey, Rick, I'm doing well. It's just a beautiful day. Obviously, golf is in the air, and it's all going well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And frankly, as we said earlier, you happen to be in the forefront of an industry that was significant, plateaued pre-COVID. Then COVID hit, and people understood that COVID could be golf could be a welcome respite, growth, rebound, a place to do business. We now, according to the National Golf Foundation, have 138 million Americans who follow, read, or played golf. 45% increase. 45% increase since 2016. It's an incredible number. For congratulations to being at the kind of a fulcrum of an amazingly growth-oriented sport.
No, it really is. I mean, we're all fortunate. The game is growing. It's growing in, many, many sectors, as you just mentioned. And, there are more women playing the game today than ever before. There are more juniors playing the game. Look at the international participation. It continues to grow. And, with what we saw recently at the Masters, it was phenomenal. For whatever it's worth, the ticket prices were at an all-time high. People haven't seen the prices here. The crowds were spectacular. The, Augusta, Georgia, is pulling in, tens and tens of millions of dollars in, tax-free rental income. Corporations are spending money left and right, while our economy currently is, in a little bit of an up and down. But, overall, the game is doing very, very well. And I'm very pleased with kind of where the participation side of the game is. Obviously, we've got the ongoing debate between the PGA Tour and Live Golf and where that stands. And maybe we can talk about that a little bit later on. But, overall, the game is good. It's healthy. Spring is in the air. Masters has come and gone, and we're ready to go.
Yeah. And listen, the Masters had more of a significant impact this year, many say, than ever before. You and I both were there. The crowds were incredible. The corporate deal making is big. Talk about golf generally, because there's no better way or place to do this than at the Masters. The business impact of golf, everybody can talk about the tax income and the revenue and all that, but one of the hardest things to quantify, but something you and I both know for business shows, is the deal making that happens in and around a golf tournament. It's ROI for everybody. You go for 4 days. It's not a boondoggle. Part of it is that, but you're making deals, you're making contact. How do you put that in perspective for people that are business people but don't understand how prolific that is on a golf course?
Well, we've all known for, generations the impact that golf has when you're spending 4 or 5 hours with a corporate executive. But then, to your point, you put them around that big tree at Augusta National on top of the hill, and you got world leaders at Augusta National, and you always have been, from really the beginning when Bobby Jones started this great tournament. And it just continues to grow. I'm amazed the people that are here, the people in the green jackets, obviously are significant business leaders of our community. and there's plenty of business going on. And while they probably don't amplify the business ongoings at Augusta, because that's not the proper thing to do, there is a ton of it, and has been a ton of it for many, many years. And there are a lot of meetings going on in the cabins, and between TV networks and corporate execs and people in my shoes, right? I run tournaments, I represent players, I've been around the industry for 37 years. So it's a who's who of the zoo. It's a wonderful way to see people. It's a wonderful way to reconnect. And the Masters is unlike any other tournament in the world that does that so well.
So Ken Kennerly, obviously prolific, academically, you were an amazing golfer in your own right. Don't let that go to your head, because we're not going to play for any competitive dollars. But you've decided that you own a marathon, but 98% of your business is golf. You decided early on that golf would be your meal ticket and your statement to the world. You have fun doing it as well. So give us kind of the evolution of how that all happened.
Well, it's, we all know it's a great game. I started 37 years ago when I joined ProServe in '87, and, it just grew from there. And, what I love about the game is, I think what everybody loves about the game, the traditional qualities of it, the fact that you've got to, dress properly, you've got to look the game, you got to, be respectful. I love the junior side of it. I'm on the board of the AJGA as well, which is the leading junior golf organization in the world. And, we're teaching young people the manners of golf and the manners of life. And, it's just a significant game in many, many facets. And, I also sit on the board of the First Tee in South Florida, which has been another phenomenal organization. So, the game just continues to evolve. It's bringing the right people to the game. It's doing the right things by the game. It's growing, as you mentioned. But what's so great about the Masters and the other majors is it's bringing everybody back together again. We all know what's going on in the business of golf with Liv and Yasser and the PGA Tour, and doesn't look like a deal is on the horizon, frankly. I mean, you heard, I think it was Gary Player or Tom Watson the other day, last week, say that, they don't see a deal happening. And, it's a shame, but what's great about the majors is the organizations have, come together in a way and said, look, let's have the best players play together. It doesn't matter what tour you're on. It was never that way before that, Rick. You know that. The greats in Japan were playing, the greats in European Tour were playing. So what? So let's have the greats of Liv join the greats of Europe, join the greats of Japan, Australia, et cetera. And these major entities finally, started probably last year, are inviting these non-traditional PGA Tour members to play, which I think is phenomenal. And I think it's great for the game. And frankly, it's a boost to the viewership, because, as you know, it's been well documented that, the viewership has been down a little bit. I know the pundits will tell you that people are leaving, terrestrial TV and going over to digital and things like that. But, the numbers are down. And, this is a way to regain the enthusiasm and the confidence in the game of golf. And from my perspective, you and I are good friends, and you followed what we've done. It's how do we boost the interest in the game? If you just do it inside the ropes, you're going to cater to the golf fan. If you do it outside the ropes, like we did for many years at the Honda Classic, and now that we're doing it, the James Hardie down in Boca, the Pro Football Hall of Fame event, which you were at a couple of weeks ago, we're driving bodies to the game. We're driving enthusiasm to the game. We're driving interest to the game. And that's what we've done. It started in Phoenix, and what we did, as I said, at the Honda and James Hardie Pro Football Hall of Fame. And that's what Topgolf has done. That's what TGL is doing. And that's what PopStroke is doing. I'm very close with Greg Bartoli at PopStroke, and it's a phenomenal business. So any one of these business entities bringing people to the game of golf is helping grow the game. And I think we're seeing it in the numbers.
My next question was going to be the NGF study, who for the first time over the last couple of years identifies 19.1 million, quote, off-course golf enthusiasts. That's exactly what you're saying. Years ago, if you said miniature golf would count, people say that's blasphemous. Only purists, can play. But now everybody understands that if you're swinging the golf club, it's good for the industry, period, full stop.
Oh, it is. I mean, Terry Anton founded an organization called Snag Golf. It's basically wiffle ball type golf, but it's for kids, and it's putting a golf club or something that resembles a golf club in someone's hands, and they're playing. And it's all about, creating that next generation of player, which is really working. And again, off course, I mean, Greg Bartoli told me this when I first joined him at PopStroke. He said, Ken, mark my words, there will be more off course golfers than on course. And I thought he was nuts, but he was absolutely right. And to your point, the NGF came out and said that recently. And, Joe Bedditz once told me that, when we are measuring a golfer, the NGF puts out those stats. How are we defining that? Are we defining that as someone that plays 1 round of golf a year, 2 rounds, 10 rounds, 6 holes, 9 holes? And then he started looking at, the NBA and basketball. And Rick, all too well. I mean, if you've got a hoop in your backyard, you're considered a basketball player. No. So those numbers get factored into the number of basketball participants in the country as well. So why wouldn't someone that goes to a PopStroke or Topgolf or any entity where you're swinging a golf club be considered a golfer?
Put your real estate developer hat on for a minute. 16,000 courses, 14,000 facilities. Some would say we were overbuilt in the early 2000s. Now we're consolidating and survival of the fittest. What's the future of golf course facilities, golf development, the amount of acreage needed for a golf course on a pro level? All of those issues are intertwined. Talk about that for a bit.
Well, I think they are. I mean, you mentioned 2000. I think NGF put out a stat in the mid 80s, right, where they said we need a golf course opening every day to satisfy the demand. Well,
that's right.
What Joe Bedditz and NGF didn't mean was, all private clubs or all that, right. I mean, it was just basically on demand. So I think we've seen a pullback, certainly. A lot of courses have closed. I think we've finally kind of leveled out in terms of the openings and closings, which is good. I was with somebody today that has a golf course that he built on 110 acres. Traditionally you're looking at 150 acres, but 110 acres. I was at Palmetto Bluff recently, and they have a secondary course there. They call it a in and out. So you play 9 holes twice. They've got 2 different pin placements on the courses, and that's over 75 acres. So, I think what you're seeing is the game of golf is growing in many, many ways. We've referenced Topgolf and PopStroke, but I have another friend of mine that's building, Pinehurst has the Cradle. So they're building these par 3 courses on 50 to 60 acres of land. And that's golf. And that's taking off. And they're doing it with the entertainment aspect because, again, you have music, you have the bar, you have drinking, you have a lot of fun. Kids 3 to whatever to 100 are playing. And that's what's so great about the game. Everybody can get into this game.
It occurs to me that Kennerly really can't play a 110-acre course because you don't hit the ball straight enough.
Well, it depends on how it's laid out, Rick. If it's a square, then I'm fine, right? If it's a long rectangle, I'm in trouble.
Well, you remember the design? Gary Player was, God bless Wayne Huizinga, but I heard the story that Gary Player was asked to design the Floridian in a circle because Wayne will always hit the ball left to right, and you just keep going around the circle. But we digress. We definitely digress. Valspar, James Hardie, 3M, Insperity, Wells Fargo, Sanford, Simmons Bank. What do they have in common? Those are all name title sponsors that you, ProLink Sports, an incredible company, bring to the table to underwrite major golf tournaments. What is the view of corporate America now spending big bucks to put their name on a tournament? Are they getting their money's worth?
Oh, I think they absolutely are. If they weren't, they wouldn't be doing it. The ROI at all the different levels is measured by agencies or whatnot. I mean, I got to credit Hollis Cavner. He renewed 3M and Valspar this year, which is great. Long-standing, great golf tournaments. Others have gone by the wayside, but overall, the ROI, if to the company in the right area, in the right market, depending on what their objectives are, really works. Let's take James Hardie, for instance. They're in the building products business. Some people thought James Hardie was the name of a NFL football player way back when. James Hardie is the company that owns and started Hardie Board and, the #1 siding in the world, really. And, this was a way for them to get their brand out there. That was not the only reason, but that was one of the many reasons that they, jumped into this world, and this sponsorship was to get their brand out there. They had TV time, commercial time on the Golf Channel. They're also taking other commercials out around. Someone told me recently they were featured during the halftime of an Arsenal game a week ago during the James Hardie Invitational. So for them, it had certain objectives, and for others, it might mean something totally different. Again, James Hardie entertained their clients. It was a branding play. We partnered with the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which again, as you know, is unique, right? We're bringing two sports entities together, the most powerful organization in sport in North America, together with the legends of golf. It was, in our inaugural year, it couldn't have been better. Everybody had a great time. There were so many people out there, Rick, looking and getting autographs from the football guys. The football guys loved it. Those football guy legends that were not there were pinging Jim Porter, the head of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, saying, save a spot for me next year. I had no idea what this event was going to be about.
Yeah, and that's exactly why Ken Kennerly, runs successful golf tournaments. It is going to be a staple for years to come. The whole thing, though, it revolves around the stability of a corporate sponsor. When when you were involved in the tournament in Palm Beach Gardens that started in '77, Honda, it was known as the Honda Classic, and one of the reasons why it was so successful for so many years is because you ran a hell of a tournament, and it was exposure for the corporation way beyond just traditional ROI metrics. And I assume that's what you need to do today to keep a corporation interested, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, there are too many other opportunities for these companies out there. When Live came on, as you know, the PGA Tour, in essence, bifurcated themselves. We had two different tours, right? You had the elevated events, and then you had the other events. And all of a sudden, the sponsors were being asked to pony up, $25+ million to be a title sponsor of what they would consider the elevated events, which had the better fields, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same boat, there are a ton of tournaments out there, good ones, like the Honda Classic was, and others, now the Cognizant. And, you've got John Deere, and you have, New Orleans, and all these other great events that have phenomenal fields, maybe not as great as what a World Golf Championship did when that was created, or now an accelerated event. But it all comes back to the market. And let's not forget, it's about charity. All these individual events are 501c3s, with the exception of, some of the newer ones that Tour Championships involved with. But they're still extremely philanthropic by themselves too. But the world changes, as you know, Rick. I mean, the world of golf changed, the world of college football has changed. When NIL came along, a lot has changed, that's for sure, as we all know. And it's just going to continue to evolve. That's the way the world we're in. But as long as we maintain the integrity of the game of golf and integrity of the professionals and the fans, while creating other elements to attract fans to these events, I'm totally fine with it all. I mean, again, our biggest competitor is our television set. By the time you get out of your car, you get on a shuttle bus and you do your thing. I, as a promoter, as a tournament guy, I've got to create a stage, a platform for you as a customer that wants to come out to my tournament. And again, that's why we think out of the box. We create things outside the ropes. We create, shootouts and skins games and things like that to make the customer feel like, he or she cannot get this through a television set.
Yeah, clearly, and that's why the entity is so successful, and specifically events you're involved in. One more kind of biggie. Where is Ken Kennerly, and where is the golf industry 5 years from now?
Well, 5 years from now, I think it'd be anybody's guess, right? I think 2 years ago, June, when, the PGA Tour and Yasser said they were coming together, I thought, we were going to have something then. Here we are almost 2 years from that great announcement. I don't know. I don't think there are many people that know. All I know is that you've got some, great up and coming players on the PGA Tour, and there's some other great players that will soon be turning professional that will, join the ranks of what I hope will be, one main tour, because I think we need the best players in the world coming together. And I don't know what'll happen next year, let alone 5 years from now.
Yeah, well, and whatever it is, you're going to hit the ball a little straighter than you are these days, because God knows you need to. But more important than all of that is that the golf industry is in really, really good hands for having Ken Kennerly be a part of it. Ken, as usual, thank you very much, my friend.
I'm a small part of it, Rick, but thank you. And I've just been in it a long time, and there's nothing better than the game of golf. So thank you.
Golf industry getting bigger every year, 545 million rounds. That's just on real courses, according to the NGF in 2024, a tip of a very large iceberg. Go to your golf course, enjoy the game. It is big business. Sports Fest and Rick Horrow, sports news on the record. Speak with you soon. Ken Kennerly giving us some amazing perspective on the golf business as we head into Major League Baseball heating up, basketball, hockey, Kentucky Derby, Indy 500. A A lot going on in late April and May. So let's talk about the 5 to watch. Where are we going? Number 1, Inter Miami and Messi close to a contract extension come as a huge boost as part of the long-term Miami Freedom Park sports facility plan, a stadium by the airport. Never thought it'd be done, but now it's a 131-acre development, including a public park, entertainment, hospitality venues. Messi fans, like in Chicago, all over the country, waiting for him to continue to play. Injured last time he was in Chicago, probably not this time. And as a lifelong Miamian who's been in the facility business, I can't wait for the new soccer stadium to open. It's going to happen. Number 2, Formula One, latest sponsorship deal with Barella. The sponsorship rights, signage, hospitality, the Italian pasta maker, Formula One, and they, a match made in heaven. But yet, according to Global Data Sport Business, Formula One 2025 report shows that close to about 30% of the series-wide sponsorship deals also hail from the U.S., about $126 million directly into this sport. The next common market, 3 from the U.K., Germany, etc. But as far as Formula One is concerned, the American races, Austin, Miami coming up really quick with the Grand Prix, and Montreal and Vegas, but now we got the sponsors to follow. And that's number 2 to watch. Number 3, Topgolf's founders are finding a new sport. The Jolife brothers, Steve and Dave, who capitalized basically Topgolf and Putt Shack, they're back. They realize the combination of sports and entertainment is a big one. Putting, golfing, driving. Remember the bowling idea as well. But now, a $34 million investment from David Blitzer and the Active Partners Emerging Fund to try to pool billiards. A crowded, smoke-filled billiard hall turned into a mega entertainment complex. Got to see it to believe it. Well, 30 plus $70 more million later, we're going to see it. Number 4, NFL and AWS involves the Draft IQ Analytics dashboard just in time for the draft in Green Bay. We'll cover that a lot next week and the week after. Who's my team going to pick on draft day? An example. What do I really think is cool? Are they making a mistake? Are they not? AWS Advanced Technology is going to answer all of those questions using artificial intelligence. That's all we need, is the general managers in the business turning it over to artificial intelligence for draft. Some would say, with some of the teams, couldn't do any worse than they do today. We'll have to see. And then finally, for the 5 to watch, Deloitte's recent study, women's sports revenue topping $2.3 billion in 2025, $1.88 billion in 2024. And the biggest reason is the collectives of women's sports headed by major female investors, Karen Nortman, others, for example, Michelle Kang's new entity, Kaniska Sports International. The portfolio includes the Washington Spirit, France's Olympique Lyonnais Féminine, London City Lionesses, and others. Bottom line is, women's sports was a huge investment before. It is a massive investment today. And that's your 5 to watch, and that's your show, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to thank Ken Kennerly for helping us with his tremendous expertise, Callie Kazar for putting the show together as always. And thank you all as usual for listening and watching. And remember to join us once again next week when we go on the record and deal with basketball and baseball and horse racing and Indy 500 and the panoply of sports. Sports Professor Rick Horrow, speaking with you soon.